guys, welcome to aclaireytale and welcome to this Tokyo Disney tips and tricks video. If you're new here, my name is Claire and we recently took a trip to Japan. We had the best time. I'll link playlists above and below so you can check them out if you haven't seen them yet. But this video I thought I'd concentrate on Tokyo Disney as a whole, Disneyland, Tokyo DisneySea, the hotels, all these little pointers that I picked up along the way. Really it's things I wish I had known, things I learnt whilst there, and just responding to questions I've received on Instagram. If you are on Instagram, it's just aclaireytale, and if you're not on Instagram, I post the same things to Facebook as well, so it's aclaireytale everywhere. Go follow. I'll put links below anyway so you can follow along on all my social media if you would like to. I do just want to say here that I'm not an expert. I've only been once. There are many up-to-date blogs and vlogs out there, so definitely look at those. But this is just more a bit about my experience. So number one, I've kind of labelled them chronologically and things we came across as we went along the trip. But number one is a pretty obvious one, but buy your tickets, buy your Disney park passes before you go. We bought ours in the hotel the night before, but you can also buy them online. I'm only saying this because when we got there was such a long line of people buying their Disney tickets before they got in, and for me that's just not a magical way to start your Disney day in a line. You get that enough for the ride, so just skip that part. Get your tickets before you go. I got asked a few times about how many days is best. Obviously it's entirely subjective as to how long you have in Japan, but we went for the 4-day pass and that was the best option for us. Kind of a bit like a passport. It is so cheap, I can't even tell you. It was 22,400 yen when we went. I think it might have gone up now, but that was how much it was, around £170 for 4 days in Disney parks. That's pretty amazing. For us, 4 days was ideal. It meant 2 days in each park, 2 days in Tokyo Disneyland, 2 days in Tokyo DisneySea. And our very first day in Tokyo Disneyland, it was actually really bad weather, so parades were cancelled, fireworks weren't showing, what else? Characters weren't around. You didn't get the full Disneyland effect, if that makes sense. So that first day I was just thinking, thank goodness we have another day that we can go back and do all those things, because we had DisneySea the next day and then back to Tokyo Disneyland and everything was up and running as normal, and we got to see everything that we missed on that first day. So it just gives you that chance to do anything that you missed or do anything twice that you really want to do again. So we did Pooh's Honey Hunt again and etc. Definitely 4 days ideal for us. If you want to do more, obviously that's great as well. I'm going to talk a little bit here about Tokyo Disney hotels. If you can stay in a Disney property, I would suggest staying at Tokyo Disneyland or Miracosta, which is the hotel on site at Tokyo DisneySea. It has a view of Tokyo DisneySea. Obviously these are fairly expensive hotels, but if you can, I would definitely recommend staying in those two because they are absolutely beautiful. I think if I were to ever go back and if we had DVC, a girl can dream, I would stay at Miracosta because it just looked amazing. We stayed at Disney's Celebration Hotel, and I would personally maybe not recommend that hotel if you're only there for a short amount of time because it is quite far off property. You saw the difficulty we had whilst there in the vlog, so I won't go on about it again. But the perks of staying in the Disney hotel, and the reason why I wanted to do it, other than the fact that you get that magic when you finish in the park, it continues when you get into your hotel, which I love. But the main reason was extra magic hours, or it's not called that over there because it's only 15 minutes. So the difference there already in the Floridian parks where you get an extra hour in the morning or an extra hour at night. Here you only get 15 minutes and nothing's open. It's just really a chance for you to go to your fast pass and pick up a Fastpass or go to the lottery and get a lottery ticket. So I'm not sure if the expense of staying in a Disney hotel is worth those 15 minutes. My biggest hotel recommendation is Hilton Tokyo Bay. It is a stunning hotel. I've talked about it so many times. Gorgeous hotel, and if you can include breakfast as well, do so. Dumbo's fallen while I was trying to reach my scrapbook. I made a scrapbook for all the leaflets and tickets and everything from our Japan trip, and I just brought it down to show you this today guide, because my next tip is when you go into the park, there are obviously your park maps, but there's also a today guide, and the today guide is basically like a time information like you get in Orlando, but it also has the times of the shows and everything is on here. I'll bring you down and get you a closer look in a second, but it also has special merchandise, all these sort of bits and bobs that maybe aren't there usually. It also has special snacks, so Halloween snacks, because we were there at Halloween, and they've got the popcorn drink that you saw us drinking. They've got the pumpkin churro that we got as well, and it just kind of highlights anything new and different to try. So definitely get that because it's really, really worth it. That was the DisneySea one, and the Tokyo Disneyland one. Oh, actually, that's the popcorn drink that we had. But again, it's just got all the different merch, and look at those clip-on characters and just anything that's different and new to the parks. I'll show you a glimpse of my scrapbook. I love it. I always have a pile of stuff to make a scrapbook and never get around to making the scrapbook, so I'm so glad I did this time for such a special trip. So yeah, the today leaflet is usually there just with the maps as you walk in, just like in the other parks. I think there was some on the turnstiles when we walked in. So I think Mickey's fallen now, hasn't he? This is just a disaster today. Oh. Right, that'll do. Stay inanimate objects. So next I'm going to talk fast passes. So when we were there, they were rolling out the app on your phone, but it was only in Japanese and only on the Japanese app market thing, what's it called, store. It was only on the Japanese app store, which meant that I couldn't get it unless I signed into the Japanese app store, I guess. Anyway, we stuck with the physical ones that they were still doing there, a bit like how they have it still at Cali. I mean, it's just how it's been in the past. It's a little bit annoying having to go all the way to, you might have been in a different land, going to a completely different land to get your fast pass, come all the way back to where you were, and then go back to the land that you were getting your fast pass for once the time had come. And it is tiring. It adds the steps, but it's worth it in the end. Hopefully in the future they'll have the app on the app store, because it is just so much easier. We are well and truly spoiled in Orlando with that app. In terms of which rides to get fast passes for, we were recommended for Tokyo Disneyland to get Pooh's Honey Hunt and the Monsters Inc. Ride and Go Seek. Tokyo DisneySea, we were recommended to get Journey to the Center of the Earth and Toy Story Mania. So with Tokyo Disneyland, for those rides, I'll talk about that first. We found that the Monsters Inc. ride was really empty towards the end of the night, so that's definitely one to look at if you weren't able to get a fast pass in the day. We joined the queue, I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes, and it went even further when we'd come off. It was even lower, so definitely look out for that. We got fast pass for Pooh's Honey Hunt because obviously that ride is so unique. It's not in any other Disney park, so we really wanted to make sure we got on there. And then throughout the day we were able to get fast passes for things like Space Mountain and those types of rides that didn't run out as quickly. But Pooh's Honey Hunt and the Monsters Inc., they're the two that sell out very quickly. Not sell out, but run out. And then with Tokyo DisneySea, unfortunately when we were there, Journey to the Centre of the Earth was closed, so we didn't need to get fast passes for that, obviously. And then for Toy Story Mania, we didn't get there straight away, so we didn't get a fast pass for it, but the queue was long throughout. I'm talking over 100 minutes throughout the day. So if that was a ride you really wanted to do, definitely get there early, get your fast passes, because they had run out by the time we got there, and we ended up not riding it because it was such a long queue throughout the whole day. As well, we'd heard it's similar or pretty much identical to the one in Florida, so we thought that's okay, that's one we can miss if it's the same. So when we were there as well, Soaring had just opened, so that was another one that had just long lines throughout, but this time I'm talking 200 to 300 minutes long because it was brand new when we were there. So that was something else we didn't get to ride, but again, I heard it was similar to Soaring in Epcot, and we weren't too bothered. I didn't want to stand in a queue and waste all that precious time doing that one ride when I wanted to really enjoy the rest of the park. So that was just what we took from it. But if you're going, I would suggest definitely one day getting your Soaring one, get there early, get the fast pass for that. One day getting your Toy Story Mania. Again, the easier ones that you can get throughout the day are the Tower of Terror and Indiana. So that was lucky they didn't run out as quickly, probably because all these other ones run out first. If you've never done Indiana Jones before, definitely get a fast pass for that, but it is very similar to the one in California, so you're not missing out if you don't get to go on that one. I think that's similar for other rides too. If you don't have a lot of time, maybe look at what rides are the same in the American parks or ones that you've done already, because things like Star Tours were the same, and then the unique things, Space Mountain was very different, Honey Hunt's very different, even Munster's Ride and Go Seek, it was very similar to California. In fact, probably the same track, but it just had a bit more interactiveness with those torches, but it was pretty much the same. So if you've done it in California, don't feel like you've missed out too much by missing it. So they're all the rides. I thought this is a good time to talk about the shows. If you saw my Tokyo Disney vlogs, you will have seen that we really struggled with these shows. Basically how it works in Tokyo Disney with the shows, you go to a place where they have machines and it gives you a ticket to the show, and it is based on a lottery system. And you would have seen that we lost all 4 times that we tried this, all 4 times. And then if you're not successful on that first show that you're trying for, you can try for another show. One that we didn't even want to do, we were still unsuccessful for it. And it is so demotivating to hear that. I'm going to insert the music. That noise is so disheartening. So it was just a system that I didn't really like. I understand that they need that because there's a lot more people going, so they need to have some sort of system in place where they can control the mass crowds, etc. But you just come out of there after that and you just feel so gutted that you're not going to be able to see these shows. So a way around it, one, I wish I had known, because I wouldn't have wasted time going to these lottery places. With these shows, they are all ticketed except for the first showing of the show. So the first showing is a first come, first served basis. Now with that, we saw on our first day and that first showing, queue going round and round and round, people sitting down with sandwiches. They were in those queues for hours. So we were just so, I just did not want to wait in that line. I wasn't getting the lottery ticket and I was so worried that I wasn't going to get to see these shows. But we just happened to walk by. We just thought, let's give it a try. 10 minutes before the show, and they were still letting people in. People were running in, and we got a seat. So my biggest recommendation is to go to the first showing of each of these shows, and you will be able to get in. Maybe go a bit earlier than 10 minutes if you want to be sure that you'll get in. We did that for Big Band Beat in Tokyo DisneySea, which was a really good show, really well made. And One Man's Dream in Tokyo Disneyland, and that show was quite possibly one of the best shows I've ever seen in the entire of Disney. It was amazing, so it is worth it. So yeah, that's my biggest tip with the shows, because it is obviously very different to how it is done in Orlando or California. Next, I am going to talk merchandise, because Tokyo Disneyland is famous for its amazing merch. But when I was there, I was slightly disappointed, and you will have seen in my haul that I talked about this. There wasn't a lot of Tokyo Disney specific with the words merch, and I'm so glad I had so many people replying saying that they felt the same, and I'm so glad it wasn't just me. I think we're just used to Orlando having Walt Disney World over everything, or Disneyland California over everything, whereas in Tokyo Disneyland there wasn't a lot of choice, there wasn't a lot of options. Like, this was literally the only sort of t-shirt they had with Tokyo Disneyland on it. So when you go, definitely don't have high expectations on park specific merch. However, character specific merch, now that is where they just reach other levels. If you have a favourite character, even if it's a rare-ish character, they will have something of it. They had characters everywhere, and they would have your favourite character on every single thing imaginable. And if you saw my Tokyo haul, you would have seen that I got Dumbo version of everything. And something I noticed, that the shops in the parks are better than anything outside the parks, and which is different to Florida. I feel like hotel shops and Disney Springs are better in Florida than the parks sometimes, but here it was the parks that had better merch, because in places like Xperi there just wasn't any park merch, and there was a Disney store, but it was more like the Disney store we have in the UK with animated dolls and things like that. There wasn't park specific stuff other than in the parks, which is good. I guess it means that you have to be visiting the parks to get that specific merch. But I'm mentioning it here because I just, as a tip, don't wait until the end of the trip, or don't go to Xperi and get your merch there. Get it when you see it, get it in the parks, because it isn't anywhere else. But even in the parks, the shops themselves were a bit limited. If you want stationery, if you want chocolate biscuits, and if you want Duffy, then you are all set, because it is those shops, shop after shop after shop. Try all of the snacks, even the ones that aren't so great. I'm saying that because the alien mochi balls, I did not like them very much. I loved the cream in the middle. They had vanilla, strawberry and chocolate cream, but that coating, I did not like that coating. But they are famous, and mochi balls are famous in Japan as a whole, so definitely try them. It is fun to see what they're like. My favourite snack of the whole of Tokyo Disneyland was the Mike Wazowski melon bread. It was so delicious, I can't even tell you. I actually bought it on 2 occasions because I loved it that much. There was actually melon bread in our hotel breakfast as well. It must just be a popular item over there. I wish it was more readily available over here. Maybe there's a recipe or something. Lockdown plans. But yeah, that was my favourite snack. Another good snack, which are in parks worldwide, but churros. They had some funky flavoured churros that I hadn't tried. I actually have never tried a churro before, because the one I tried in Florida some time ago, it was just cinnamon, and I don't like cinnamon, and it just put me off churros. But I tried, it was a pumpkin flavour, which was really nice. Then the next day I think we had a pineapple churro, and it was delicious. And then what was the other? We had an orange churro, and it literally tasted like a Terry chocolate orange. It was delicious, honestly. So next time I go to Florida or California, I want to try all these different flavors now that I'm a big churro fan. And then, like I showed you in the today guide from my scrapbook, they show specific snacks and treats that are specific to the days that you're there. And for us, there was that popcorn drink, which tasted more like a milk-based cream soda, which is weird. It was very strange, and that came with a pumpkin donut as well, because obviously while we were there at autumn and Halloween, everything was kind of autumnal flavoured. So I can't talk snacks and not talk the most famous snacks that they have out there, and that is the popcorn. Tokyo Disney is famous for popcorn flavours, and every single person, every guest is walking around with the popcorn bucket of their choice, and it is just amazing to see everyone carrying it around with them. And they have so many popcorn stalls with all these different flavours on them. I'm going to actually, let me read out some of the funky flavours that they have out there. They have a little section here that says popcorn flavours and locations on the map itself. So in Tokyo Disneyland they had soy sauce and butter, caramel, curry, barbecue, honey, salt, milk chocolate, strawberry milk, and that's it. And then in Tokyo DisneySea, some similar to that one: caramel, honey, salt, curry, garlic shrimp, Chinese chili, strawberry, milk chocolate. And then they have special edition ones as well, which will be in that today leaflet that I showed you. But yeah, some very strange popcorn flavours that we'd never tried before, and we don't have. I think in England we've only really got caramel or salt and sweet. I know America have a few more, but yeah, that was just crazy for us. Let me know below which popcorn flavour you would like to try, which one intrigues you. We really wanted to try the honey flavour. We'd heard really good things about that one, so that one wasn't linked with this bucket, but you don't have to get the popcorn flavour that's sold where your popcorn bucket is sold, because obviously all the areas have different popcorn buckets, and this one was only in Fantasyland. So when we went to Fantasyland, I can't remember what flavour was with that one, but we asked and she gave us a little leaflet, little coupon, and it basically said we'd paid and we get a refill wherever we want. So we went across to, I think it was near Pooh's Honey Hunt, obviously honey, and they had the honey popcorn there, so we swapped it for that. We just took our empty bucket, the new bucket, over to Pooh's Honey Hunt and got the honey flavoured popcorn that we wanted to try, which was a very interesting flavour. I'm actually not the biggest fan of popcorn, I know. I just don't like all the bits in my teeth, and it just tastes a bit dry for me. Anyway, nothing to do with tips. So next I'm going to talk park hopping and transport, Suica Card, all that sort of stuff. So park hopping in Tokyo isn't as easy, well, it's not as cheap as in America, because you do have to pay to use the monorail each time that you do park hops. So I recommend sticking to a park, staying in it, and the way the 4-day pass is anyway, your first 2 days you have to stay in the assigned parks. So we asked for Tokyo Disneyland for our first day, and then Tokyo DisneySea for our second day, and then the second 2 days you're allowed to park hop. But actually we only park hopped on that third day, and then we just stuck in Tokyo Disneyland on that fourth day. We'd pretty much finished everything in Tokyo DisneySea on that second day, that we didn't need another full day in Tokyo DisneySea. With Tokyo DisneySea, it is a beautiful park. It is stunning. I'm sure you've heard about how gorgeous it is, and it is really amazingly laid out, really different, really unique. But actually there isn't as much to do there. That's what we found anyway. So we finished that off on that morning on our third day, and went to the hotel, went to Xperi, and then went back to Tokyo Disneyland for the evening, just because we felt that we'd done it. We'd blitzed the park the day before, we'd finished everything we wanted to see. So you can pre-purchase the monorail pass. We just used the Suica card instead of getting a day pass, because we already had the card from when we used it in Tokyo Center, and we still had credit on it, so we just thought we'd use it up. If you wanted to get a Suica card, you can at any station, they can get that for you, and it's a 500 yen deposit, and then each way around single each single is 260 yen. And the Suica card's quite good as well. I said it was a bit like an Oyster card when we were in Tokyo itself, because you just tap it and go through the turnstiles, etc. But it's also quite handy. It works for the vending machines. So we would buy our daily peach Fanta. If you're going, you've got to get peach Fanta. It is the nicest drink ever. I mean, it's on a par with Mountain Dew, and you know how I feel about Mountain Dew. But you can use your Suica card in those vending machines, which is quite cool. You can use it for other things too, so it is handy to get the Suica card and just fill it up. Then you're not messing around with the coins and everything, because they have so many coins. So speaking of Suica cards, these last few points now are going to be about transport. We made a big mistake, so definitely listen to these tips, because I just wish I had known these things before I got there. If you are traveling from Tokyo or wherever to Tokyo Disneyland on the coast, you will get off at Maihama Station. Now you'd think that, you know, you get there to Maihama Station with your suitcase, you'd think that there'd be then a bus system to take you to the hotel that you're staying in. So there is, but it's not at the station where you get off at. You have to get yourself to the park, and the bus is at the park. Now we didn't know this. It was late, dark, it was raining, we had our suitcases, we'd come out of Maihama Station. There's no signs, there's no indication of what you have to do. I googled it and I found that there was a bus number this to get you to Disney Celebration Hotel, but later I found out this was a public bus and we had to use our Suica cards. It wasn't the free shuttle Disney buses, because you have to go to the parks themselves to get those, and we did not know that. And I think that there needs to be a sign or something, because tourists come to the station, they don't then think, oh, let's go to the parks. They think, how do we get to our hotel? You're looking around the station for answers, and there weren't any. So that was our biggest mistake there. At least the public bus did get us to our hotel, but as soon as we got to the hotel, we saw the free shuttle bus and we were just thinking, how did we miss that? So when you get to Maihama Station, get yourself to the park, and just outside the park is big bus system, and it'll take you to the Disney Celebration Hotel. So that's if you're staying there. If you're staying in Hilton Tokyo Bay, you can get yourself from Maihama Station to there very easily. They had a bus. We saw the sign for that because we were thinking, oh, I wish we could just go straight there. But you could also go upstairs and go on the monorail loop, and it'll take you straight to Bayside Station, which is where Hilton Tokyo Bay is. So that's really easy. It was just, yeah, if you're staying in Celebration Hotel, don't make the mistake that we did. So where we found it difficult getting to our hotel from the station or airport, it was actually really easy to get to the airport from the hotel, especially if you're staying at Hilton Tokyo Bay. So originally we just planned that we would just get to Maihama Station, get the trains, all the connections to Narita Airport. But when we spoke to someone at reception, they said they have a shuttle service that goes non-stop to the airport. The shuttle goes to both airports. It goes to Haneda and Narita, and not only is it easier and quicker, it was far cheaper too, and by this point our JR pass had expired, so it would have been a lot more for us to get the train anyway. I'll put the information about the shuttle bus here because it was so helpful. There was timings and it was just non-stop to Narita Airport, and we got the bus from outside Hilton Tokyo Bay Hotel itself, and it was so easy. I wish I'd filmed my travel day home because it just ran so smoothly, and as you know, our flight was so great. I wish I'd filmed it now. You book in the time that you want with this shuttle bus, and it was 1,900 yen, which was what, about £15 each. It's just amazing to get all the way to the airport. So they are all my Tokyo Disney tips and tricks. I hope you found them helpful. They certainly would have helped me if I'd have known these things before I'd gone. And this is probably going to be the last video of these Japlanning videos, the last of the series. So I hope you have found these 3 videos really helpful, reassuring, and let me know below if you have, or message me on Instagram if you're planning your Japan trip in the future. I love hearing about them. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Make your memories, take